Welcome to PAR Podcast, episode 75.21. PAR Podcast is an audio supplement for Public Administration Review, the premier professional journal in the field of public administration. This year, 2015, PAR celebrates 75 years of furthering public administration research, theory, and practice. This episode features comments by Rhys Andrews, Professor of Public Management at Cardiff Business School in the United Kingdom. Professor Andrews discusses his article, co-authored with Rachel Ashworth, titled Representation and Inclusion in Public Organizations, Evidence from the UK Civil Service. This article is currently available on Early View and will be printed in Public Administration Review, Issue 75, Volume 2.
Hi, I'm Rhys Andrews, and I'm going to discuss research that Rachel Ashworth and I have undertaken on representative bureaucracy in the UK. Are more representative public sector organisations better places to work? That's the question that Rachel and I attempt to answer in our paper, Representation and Inclusion in Public Organisations, Evidence from the UK Civil Service, published online in Public Administration Review. The causes and consequences of a more representative bureaucracy have been studied in numerous organisational settings for many years now. Even so, surprisingly little research has systematically examined the effects of representation within public bureaucracies. In our paper, Rachel and I examine the relationship between gender and minority ethnic representativeness and the inclusiveness of the workplace within UK civil service organisations. The occupational culture within the British civil service traditionally reflected the values of the dominant social group within UK society, the white middle-class Oxbridge-educated man typified by Sir Humphrey Appleby in the BBC TV series Yes Minister. Although the civil service has become more representative of the British population, and the UK government has introduced a range of policies to promote diversity, a general perception remains that being the right sort of chap is what matters most. For these reasons, we felt that our research on representation and inclusion would cast valuable light on a long-standing issue within UK public administration that would have important implications for public organisations elsewhere. To examine the issue of representation and inclusion, we draw upon recent developments in human resource management theories that suggest an inclusive workplace environment is one in which diverse identities and values are respected and supported. In our paper, Rachel and I argue that this is more likely to occur in organisations that are demographically representative than those which are not, and that this will be apparent not only in how individuals feel about the inclusiveness of the work environment, but also in their experience of discrimination and bullying. To test our ideas, Rachel and I draw upon the Civil Service People Survey that was carried out in 2010. This survey was completed by about 60% of the British civil service workforce and included 4 questions asking respondents about whether they are treated fairly at work and whether they are treated with respect, as well as whether they felt valued for the work that they do and whether they believed their organisation respects individual differences. In addition to these questions about inclusiveness, respondents were also asked to indicate if they had personally experienced discrimination or bullying at work in the past year. To establish whether representativeness makes a difference to perceptions of inclusion and the experience of discrimination and bullying, we calculated how closely British civil service organisations mirrored levels of female and minority ethnic representation within the UK workforce. We then utilised regression techniques to evaluate whether our measures of representativeness were related to the measures of inclusion from the People Survey. Our analysis revealed that British civil service organisations that were more representative of the population that they serve were perceived to be more inclusive places to work, and that they benefited from lower levels of discrimination and bullying. This positive effect of representativeness on inclusion was observed even when controlling for other important determinants of workplace inclusion, such as the size of the organisation and average rates of pay. Theoretically speaking, our findings suggest that representative bureaucracy research should pay more attention to the ways in which the relative inclusiveness of the work environment influences the active representation of women's and minorities' interests. At the same time, the practical implications of our analysis are also important. Efforts to improve the recruitment of female and minority ethnic staff can provide wider organisational benefits, with public service organisations that more closely resemble the population being more inclusive environments in which to work. Further research, which interrogates the role of organisational leadership and culture in shaping inclusive practices and processes within representative bureaucracies, would therefore add to our understanding of what makes public organisations great places to work.
This concludes PAR Podcast, episode 75.21. To listen to additional episodes and learn more about Public Administration Review, please visit us online at publicadministrationreview.org. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at PA Review. Thanks for listening.